Hey ladies, welcome to Speak Life Podcast with Lex. I'm so excited that you stopped in. This is a place where we talk about all the things from real life topics to daily struggles and topics that most people don't want to talk about. Before we dive in, we're going to ask you to share, like, subscribe, and follow us on social media, Speak Life Project _ to follow us and all the things that's happening around here. So today I have a treat for you all. I have my very special guest that's near and dear to my heart. She knows me like no other. And I've had the honor and the privilege to literally watch her grow up into the mighty woman of God that she is today. And so I want to introduce to you all my beautiful sister, younger sister. I'm the oldest. This is Alicia. You want to?
Hello.
Yes. Say hi.
Hi, my name's Alicia. It was nice to be here.
Yes. Yes. So we're just going to have a conversation, and we wanted you to, I wanted you to get to know who my sister is. You'll probably see her here and there throughout the days as the days to come. And we're going to just dive right into the topic. So today we want to talk about what it looks like to do it God's way. Because with both of us growing up with each other, we both at one point in our life, we grew up knowing who God is in a Christian family, but then we also both went our separate ways, and then we basically took a detour and tried to do it our own way. And we were like, nobody got me like I got me.
Yeah.
And so with that, we got to see what it looks like to do it our own way. And now we're both serving God at a full capacity.
Yeah.
And now we get to see what it looks like doing it God's way. And I don't know about you, but doing it God's way is 100% better.
Yeah, it is. It's the only way. It's the best way.
Yes. And so we just wanted to have a conversation and talk about what that looks like, because there's some of you out there, you may be doing it, trying to do it in your own way. And there's only so far that you can go. It may be nice in the beginning, but there's only so far that you can go on your own until you hit that place where you can't do it anymore. And then there's no peace. There's just chaos, all those different things. And then we can encourage you that when you do it God's way, everything starts to fall into place. So Alicia,
Yeah.
here you are today in Bible school and living in Florida and, serving God with all your heart. So why don't you tell them a little bit about like what that looks like how you got up to this point. It doesn't have to be like a long thing, but more like what it looked like to do in your own way. Start off with that. And then what it looks like to do it in God's way.
Okay. So, so what it looked like to do it my own way, basically leading up to Bible school, I was doing things my own way. And even though I left my old life and I was, I left the old life that I was living that was godless, and I stepped into, life with God, I still was living my own way because I had a full-time job. I had like certain things that I thought like I needed to have like the American
to be
dream
successful, right?
So I had those things, and it wasn't fulfilling though. I was like, but Lord, why am I not happy? Why am I, still lonely? Why am I sad all the time? I have all these things, and so even though I had God in my life, I didn't fully have like I to the full capacity, like you were saying,
right?
So when I decided to go to Bible school, when you do something like that, you forsake everything.
Right.
Let everything go to follow him, like leave everything behind, kind of like his disciples, you just you drop everything.
When he says, take up your cross and follow me.
That's exactly what I did. So it was hard. It was a hard decision. It was a lot of fasting, a lot of praying, a lot of stressing. But once I made that decision, living life with him, it's literally, I'm in a season where it's just like I'm living by faith, and my faith, he's testing my faith every day. Right. And the faith that I have is I have to have nothing but faith in him, childlike faith. Right. Because if I don't, then I won't make it. So faith, for the next day, faith, when you're in Bible school, I'm in full-time Bible school. I'm trying to work at the same time. So faith in where my money's coming from. Right. Faith in, because I had to leave my job, faith in where my food's coming from. My relationship with him is even closer because I have to lean on him so much.
Right. But what drew you to the point of like saying, okay, Lord, I'm going to forsake all? Because obviously, so we're a year and 4 months apart. So I'm 31. She's about to be 30. Let's not talk about it, right? She's about to be 30. So out of your 30 years of living, what caused you to want to change and do that now? Is what I'm saying. Like,
because I've been there and I've done that. So I feel like living a life without God, I've done that. Fear, anxiety, a life with chaos, you never have peace when you don't follow the Lord. And so I lived that life with no peace. And so what made me run towards it was peace. I tried everything else, and it doesn't. The one thing I didn't try full force was God. So I was like, I'm gonna try this.
You're like, I'm
full
going
force.
all the way in.
Why not? I tried everything else. I've done everything else. So I tried it, and here I am today. And I'm standing here telling everyone,
look what the
choose.
Lord
Yeah,
has done.
choose the Lord. Choose His way, because everything else is empty. It's temporary.
Right.
So it's fun for the moment. It's fun till it's not anymore.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's good. So with that, you're like, okay, I've done all the things. did it all.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go all the way in, Lord. And so you felt like a tugging, like he was like, okay, this is what I'm wanting you to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you answered the call.
Yes. And, of course, music, singing, ministry was something I've always wanted to do since we were like 5, 6.
Right.
So when I got faced with the opportunity, which I got faced with this Bible school opportunity back when I was 18.
Right.
And I didn't take it. I ended up going the wrong route around that time. And then 10 years later, here I am, 11 years later, and God's like, here, the same thing. Yep. The same school. This is the route. Are you going to take it? And I felt like I had a choice to make, in which way to go. And it drew me closer to the Lord, taking the road that He wanted me to take.
Right.
So.
But it wasn't always easy. Like, knowing you as my sister, like, you had a lot of trust issues.
Yeah.
And you were very, like, it's survival.
Yeah.
Like, gangsta, like.
Yeah. You're going to put me out there.
I be telling them, I'm like, I was a little thug. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, like, you had a hard heart. You were
hurt.
It was hard for you to trust.
I was hurt a lot.
So how can you encourage them? Because there's a lot of women nowadays. And I know that I'm talking to you out there. There's a lot of ladies that are listening to this as well. You're hurt, and because of that, because of the hurt that's not healed, you're not able to trust. And I've been there, done that. She's been there, done that. Where you're like, I don't even know if I can trust anybody. So instead of even putting myself out there to the point where I know that I'm going to get hurt again, I'm just not going to put myself up.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to put this wall up where nobody can come in. But when you do that, you can't fully walk out all that God has called you to do.
Yeah.
And so what brought you to the place of being able to trust again? To trust God, not only just God, but people.
Yeah.
Right? Because it goes hand in hand. Once you trust God, you can trust people.
So actually, before I decided to go to Bible school, I had a situation where I was at a place where, a lot of people hurt me. So I was fresh out of, the lifestyle that I was living. And I went somewhere else thinking that it was like a safe place, a church. And so I ended up getting hurt there a little bit. And I could have chose to be, to harden my heart even more.
Right.
But instead, what I did was I plugged in. So I ended up coming here. And meeting
Where's here?
West Virginia.
Okay. Where you?
So I ended up coming to West Virginia to my sister's church and around the people that she's around, her community. And her community reminded me what genuine love is, what it feels like when someone genuinely cares about you, genuinely loves you, open arms. They don't even know you, but they care about you.
That's good.
So because of that opened my heart back up to go back home to Florida and say, I'm going to go to Bible school because I can be around community. I can be around people. Because I isolated myself for like a year.
And that's what most people do, especially now.
Yeah. I didn't want to be around anyone. It was too much hurt. And coming here and seeing genuine love and genuine people and, welcoming me and not making me feel like I'm my past and I'm what I went through, reminded me, okay, there are still good people out there. So because of coming here and meeting, your friends and your community, it made me want to get back out there. And so that's what I did. And so community is important.
It is important.
And being around people is important. So.
And so being isolated and then being around people, what was the difference that you noticed? Because there's a lot of people that's like, I don't need anybody.
Yeah.
And so it's like, why do I need people? So
some people say they don't need anybody, but when you're isolated and you're alone, you're in your thoughts, you're in your head, and you do have a lot of time with you and the Lord when you're isolated and when you're by yourself.
Which I feel like the Lord brings you, like you do go through seasons like that
of isolation,
right?
Which I feel like I needed that as well, but at the same time, it can be unhealthy because you need other opinions, like. So when you make choices, you're supposed to have that community to bring up that choice to someone.
And counsel.
Yes.
Like that, counsel.
And so if you don't have that and you're just on your own and making all these decisions, sometimes that's not a good thing. You don't know. Just, it's good to have community.
She's like, just listen to what I say. It's good to have
It just is, because it can cause, letting spirits of depression, anxiety, loneliness come in when you're by yourself. You have the Lord, and yes, you can pray to him, and yes, he will answer you, and yes, you will have your times alone with him, but community takes it to a whole nother level when it comes to love and connection, friendship, building things. Like, you can't do that on your own.
Right.
So
there's only so far you
can go without it. So
that's good.
Yeah.
And so I can say for myself as well that the community changed my life. And that's why, like, I was that person that was like, I don't need nobody.
I noticed the change in you, by the way. So coming here,
it
did the same to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's true because, like, I always tell you guys on here, or you ladies, I just call everybody guys. It's a New England thing.
Yeah, it's a more thing. Mm-hmm.
But I always tell you of how I didn't want anybody in my life, or like I went through a season where I'm like, I ain't trusting nobody. But what really helped me, like Alicia was saying, was having that community and being surrounded by people that are going to uplift you. And there are good people out there.
Yeah.
Don't let the enemy try to lie to you and say that there isn't. Did he do that to you? To where he's like, there's nobody.
There's no one that's going to understand me. They're always going to judge you for your past. My laugh is too loud. I talk too much.
Right.
Making me feel like everything aspect about me was too much for people. So no one's going to want to be my friend. But then I come here and everyone loves everything about me. All of my laughing. You guys like the craziness, the laughing, the loudness. They welcome it. And so I was like, okay, so there are people that like it and that do welcome it. So when you meet those people, when you can't meet anyone unless you go out and go to church and you build a community, you can't.
And here's what the crazy part is. If we would have looked at the outside and what the people looked like and sounded like, we probably would have been like, they're not gonna, they're not exactly my flavor.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna accept me the way that I think it is.
Yeah.
But when you put yourself out there and trust God, then you're like, that is not the case because, here we grew up differently from the culture that's here in West Virginia. So you can easily judge a book by its cover, but when you actually trust God and then you immerse yourself and you get connected by the cloud, by the presence of God that's there, then you'll find yourself becoming friends with people you didn't think you ever would.
Yeah, different walks of
life. Young and old.
And then you can learn off of those people that grew up differently or that, did things differently than you, have a different culture, different way of seeing things. Everyone thinks differently. But if you're just by yourself and you're one track minded, you're not going to ever have that.
Or always trying to stay with the people that you think are like you.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you ever supposed to learn?
You're always going to be the same.
Right, exactly.
You're never going to expand your mind or your territory. It's like staying in your home state and you never travel ever. And you don't see anything else but your home state.
Right.
Like it's not going to broaden your horizons. You're not going to know what mountains and valleys and hills look like. Or if you come from places like that, you're not going to know what
the beach
palm trees and like the beaches look like. You're just going to be that one thing and that's it.
Right. And
you need community. You need differences.
That's powerful. And so I want to encourage you out there that maybe you are in a season where you're in the valley and you're like, I don't even know where to even start or to begin. And so through this, we want to let you know that God's going to put people in your path. If you decide to open it up and trust again, he's going to put people in your path that are willing to take you under their wing or willing to be your friend, no matter what they look like or no matter what you think that you sound like. Like she said, with my family and I, we're loud. Yeah. And so sometimes people are like, oh my goodness,
you're too loud. It's not their cup of tea. And then some people, they love it.
Right. And then others are like, I love it. I love the loudness. I'm quiet, but you're loud, and we compliment each other. No. And so don't hide or not show who you really are, because when you begin to step out and trust again, the Lord is going to draw those that are going to like you for who you are and not the fake you. Yeah. And you'll feel that connection and that fulfillment through community.
Yeah. And the first step is just praying before you. So find a place to plug into. And when you find that place to plug into, pray before you go and ask the Lord to bring those friendships that were meant for you to you.
Right.
And when you go sit in that service, there will be someone or people around you that will come and talk with you. And then that's how it starts. But you have to keep going. You can't just go one time.
Right.
You have to keep going and serve, get involved, that's how I met a lot of people.
Right.
I got involved. I
That's
served.
good.
I was a part of the youth group. I was helping with the choir. I was, doing, putting out things and cleaning up things.
And then you
helping.
find out through the serving, you find people that are like you.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, there's professional hiders in the church where like they've been going somewhere for like 10 years and you didn't even know.
Yeah.
Because they never got involved, not one time.
And
when
so
you
you
get
never know
involved,
anyone.
you're like doing a task with somebody.
Yeah.
And then you're
you get
connecting. It could be
connecting.
someone older, it could be someone younger. Like I
Yeah.
have friends that are in their like 50s and
Same.
60s. Like I'm in my 30s and they're like in their 50s. And I'm like, yo, it's my whole
6-year-old friends. Yeah. You got,
That's my
your
homie.
18-year-old friend.
Yes. So I think that that's amazing that when you, like you said, when you serve and you start to put yourself out there and you show up, because there's been times when
You don't
would
want to
say-
go. But
Yes.
then you're glad you went.
After,
you
yeah.
force yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you know what? I'm so glad I just did that. Like, but you have to go and you have to push through that because the enemy's going to try to make you tired. You're not
Every
gonna wanna
time.
go. Oh, I had this and that to do today. I'm not going to make it. Even if you're late, make it. Go.
Yes.
Because it's worth it.
Do what you got to do.
And you build those bonds and those friendships, and then you have those friendships forever.
Right.
Like you do.
And then people say all the time, like the awkward ones, they're like, I'm just awkward. I'm like, I've said the most
You know,
awkward
but not
thing.
just that. You know how many awkward people are out there that think the same thing?
Right. So you
So
can be
then
awkward
you just go,
together.
yeah, you go serve and you meet that awkward person and you're awkward together.
Yes.
That's it.
Like, I'm trying to think of a time. There was like a time where someone was like, how are you? Or something. And I said, you have a good, like, it was weird. I said, I have a good night because I didn't hear them. Or they're waving at someone behind me. I think it's me. And I'm like,
Did you see that meme waiting on?
they're like, hey. I'm like, oh.
There's a meme that says I was out and I thought someone waved at me, so I waved back. I realized they were waving to the person behind me, so I waved the taxi. Went to the airport and now I'm in Italy.
Oh my goodness. That's me. You feel so dumb and awkward.
Yeah, they said, now I'm in Italy starting a new life.
That's so dramatic. But it's true. You feel like so, like you die
And
inside.
there's people like that,
Right.
that are out there. Like,
But I've made connections through the awkwardness.
Me too.
Sometimes my face will like twitch or Twitter or something.
yeah. Bruh.
And I'm like, yo, they think I'm manifesting right now.
I have one of those resting faces. I have the straight face, so me and the other straight face people, we connect.
Right.
People think we're mean. We're not.
Yeah.
We're happy inside. We're just not showing it.
Or I'll smile and my smile starts like jiggling or something. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. But through the awkwardness, you keep showing up. And the
Yeah.
next thing you know, you make that connection. And you don't know who's around the corner is supposed to be a God connection. That's your best friend.
Yeah.
You know,
And that connection with that person, they might need you.
Right, and
or
vice versa.
or they might be your kingdom helper, someone that's gonna come in and help you walk in your calling,
Right.
or help you get to whatever it is that you're called to do. If you don't know what that is, and that person might be it. You never know.
That's good.
So
Community, the importance of community. We talked about this before, and then also doing it God's way.
yeah,
To wrap this all up,
the end of it.
you got to
Let's
do it
His
God's way. When you do it your own way, like she said, it'll be fun for a minute, and then until it's not, and then
Temporarily.
you get to the point where you're like, okay, this is old real quick. Now what? But the minute that you surrender your will to God's will, which we could talk about this
Yeah,
forever.
all
There's
day.
like other things like. Some people choose their own way for life, for career.
Yeah.
Or I have to do this career.
Yeah.
And then you don't do what God's asking you to do. Next thing you know, you live
That
a
was me.
miserable life.
I was a medical assistant. Let that all go and follow the Lord. And
Yes.
it's more fulfilling. Even though I had a career, even though I had, good income and all of that, the Lord provides, and going His way, I have peace. I have more joy than I've ever had. I'm resting. There's
Right.
rest. So going His way is always the best way.
Exactly. And so there's so many times where people chase the money. But at the end of the day, money can't buy peace. Money can't
can't.
buy rest.
Happiness.
Money can't buy happiness. You could try to like get all the things to try to make you feel good
Yeah.
and fill that void,
Yeah.
but it's not. So at the end of the day, choosing God's will over your surrendering that in your heart, that's like, that rebellion or whatever it is, you'll see on the other side that it's worth it in the end.
And sometimes your excuse is, I don't want to get plugged in here and there. That's why we brought that up too as well. And it's like, well, first you follow his way, then you pray and you ask him for the right community. Right. And then you go out and you try to do that, but he can't bring it to you. You have to go out and explore
you gotta put yourself out there.
Yeah, you have to. And it's the only way. And guard your heart. That's it. So if if it's not the place for you, then you go to a different place. And you keep guarding your heart until you find the right community.
And then that's when you just, you open up and trust again. Yeah. Because you can trust again.
Yes, you can.
So I'm going to have you pray us out and say any any last words that you have to encourage the ladies out there.
So if you ever feel alone, or you feel like you don't know what your purpose is, just remember to stay in your word and renew your mind. But also, if you are in a season of, being alone, it's not forever. Right. But that's also, it's a time of pruning. So the Lord will show you where you're supposed to go, where you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to connect with. But you have to listen for his voice. And the only way to hear his voice or know it's him is when you read your word. So make sure that you do that. And I guess I'll just...
Yes, pray us out.
So, dear Lord, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity for me to be sitting here with my sister, fellowshipping and, recording this and encouraging other women, Lord. Yes. Thank you so much for this beautiful day, and for the viewers that are watching this that are looking for, more guidance and things, all things that Alexis can help them with. And we thank you, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
You shouldn't let me pray.
That was good. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on. It's always a great time when we fellowship, like you said, and what you had to say, I know that someone out there needed to hear. And even if it was just for one person, that one person, you never know what seed was planted. That what seed was planted for them to change their life. So thank you so much. And I want to thank you for tuning in. Remember to speak life always, and we will catch you next time. Bye.